Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines and welcome to another episode of Wreckers or Checkers.
Welcome in, everybody. What a fantabulous week we have. As always, it's Mr. Coors Lightyear. And yours truly, Travis, Mr. Chastain, fan of the podcast, of the YouTube show.
Yeah. We're just gonna cancel this and turn it off right now.
Let's just get this out of the way right now.
We don't
What a
hear
week.
about chapstick all
What
week.
a week, boys.
I've been dreading this all week long.
I bet. It's going to be thick. I'm going to lay it on thick. I mean, okay. How was your week, Danny? I'll take it back a notch. Let's breathe. I've been excited about the show this week. I'm not gonna lie. I've been very excited.
You have. I have not been. My week was great, but I've also known that my counterpart's driver won this week, and it's a driver that I actually like, but I hate him because he's your driver, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's,
Hey.
it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Thanks for the money. I appreciate that. Yeah. I almost got both pots this week. So
missed it by that much.
Me and Danny, I don't know if we've told you guys before, we're in kind of a home league, kind of make your own fantasy rules up, where we each have our own driver that we go for every week, $10 pot on that, and then we also choose a fantasy driver every week, and we put $10 on that. The order of our choosing the fantasy driver is determined by how our regular driver finished the week before. So, regardless, it was a fun week. Almost got both. So anyway, with that, who's this? Who we got in there with you?
Coda, our Wreckers or Checkers mascot, decided to join the party.
He's a wrecker, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely a wrecker, never a checker. He's trying to drink my beer off the table and being an absolute nuisance. How about you go lay down, bud?
Speaking of wreckers, let's get right off onto the wrecker here. Had to go with this little pile up we had here. It kind of seemed like, Busher and Suarez got into each other. He immediately gets into Blaney and then goes over and takes out Larson.
Yeah. This was the lap 264 or 246?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Blaney, Suarez, Haley, Briscoe, and Larson.
Briscoe, that's who it was. Yeah. Yeah, so I felt like that had a lot of implications. Who knows how good Blaney would have been? All the other Penske drivers sucked, but he didn't look terrible. Larson, who knows? Who knows? There were some good drivers in there. I felt like, could have been something big. The other, let's say, runner-up wrecker got to be Denny Hamlin with that last pit stop. Well, technically second to last, since he had to come in again.
Because it didn't have no gas in it.
It ain't got no gas in it. That poor fueler, dude. He probably got an earful from Denny.
Oh, I'm sure. Denny actually touched on that on his podcast this week.
Did he?
Yeah, talked about how they didn't realize it, but when you see it running out, it's not going in. So that's a problem.
Hey, what's wrong with the car, Denny? They ain't got no gas in it.
Right.
Yeah, poor guy. So he's definitely a runner-up, because he would have been contending for sure. He was right up there.
Definitely. Another one that collected that was pretty good was when Hocevar blew up.
Oh,
and he took out Busher. That was
Busher,
also in the running for the checker or wrecker of the week.
Yeah, because Hocevar was looking good, man.
Yeah.
How many times this year has Hocevar just been looking good and either gets taken out or has car issues or something?
Happens to the best. I mean, it's been Ryan Blaney's MO all year, right? So
yeah, no, it's true.
He's just got to put it together, and that kid's going to win some races.
I think he will too. Yeah. So speaking of winning races,
God.
Who's this guy? That's the freaking watermelon man. That's who that is. And you know what's great about the win here? The story leading up to this win from qualifying, having to go to the backup car. They're there all night trying to get this thing together. This is all coming at the time when Ross kind of has been calling out Trackhouse for not having speed, in the last few weeks, and it kind of
going to the backup car, man, they found some speed. I
Yeah,
think I read something. I think he's the first guy since Richard Petty in like '76 to drive the Cokes 100 starting from the rear and win it.
yeah,
Like something crazy like that. Like that is impressive.
yeah. I
You
heard
got
it
a
in the
horrible pit stop.
post game or in the post race recap. They were going over that. I don't think it was Petty. I forgot who it was. But yeah, no, it's been a long time. It was back in like the '60s. I think was the last time it happened.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Like, I mean that
Yeah,
it don't matter who the driver is. Going worst to first is nothing short of impressive.
yeah. And it wasn't all on the driver. Had great pit stops. Had a great pit
Right.
crew. The car obviously had speed. They made some good adjustments, and he made a hell of a play on Byron there. I think 6 laps to go, right?
Yeah, something like that. They found speed they haven't had all year long though.
Right.
That I don't know what they did to this car, but they figured some things out this week.
And I'm hoping that translates. I'm hoping that carries over because I think
A
they
lot
found
of
some
people say
things.
it's gonna.
I think so too, and I think you're going to see Suarez
Um,
and SVG also benefit from this.
uh, not to, no, I quote him all the time on here just because I like his podcast. I don't like him as a driver. Denny Hamlin talking to you, but I love your podcast. But he straight up said it this week. He's like, watch out for Trackhouse in the one car come next week because that
Yeah,
car is going to carry over
yeah.
to Nashville and they will have it dialed in.
And he does well at Nashville
Right.
already.
He
So
already succeeds there,
yeah,
right? And so you go
already.
there being that's like Kyle Larson going to Bristol. Like,
Yeah,
give me
yep.
give me a half-ass okay car, knowing I run great there.
Yep.
Like
And we
that's
will
recipe
talk
for
about
disaster.
this. Yeah, we will talk about this as well because Vegas is definitely showing Chastain a little bit of love for the odds when we cover that. But how about we get into the recap of Charlotte here, the full recap.
Yeah, let's give her a look.
So obviously we got Byron with leading 283 laps and kind of the you know
It was
that's
his
just
race to
gotta
lose.
suck, dude. That's just gotta suck. You lead that many laps, and it's. I think it was Harvick that was talking about it, and it made a lot of sense. He's like, when you're out front like that all race, he's like, you find yourself towards the end of the race a lot of times behind in the adjustments that you should have been making because you're kind of more hesitant to change things because you're winning, right? Like
Right.
you're kicking the shit out of me. Why would you stop and change some stuff? Bless you.
Thank you.
But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
So I think you find yourself getting hung out to dry a little bit sometimes when you're leading that much of the race, and then all of a sudden these guys that have been making adjustments and finding that sweet spot for that specific part of the race, they come up and they're able to put a move on you like Chastain did there at the end. It kind of catches you by surprise. So
Definitely.
that that
I think that attracts a lot. I mean, you see it. It's very rare for a driver to just run away with a race, right? We see it from time to time.
from time to time. There you are. Are you
Usually,
back? I think
I
we
am back.
I think we
What
lost you for a
happened?
minute there.
Gotcha. I don't know where I was at, but sorry, Fa. Vegas is one that hey, stop it. Vegas is one that typically like a driver will run away with, right? That leads a ton of laps
Yep.
and never puts it together at the end. Someone else ends up winning.
Right.
Like there's issues there. Like
I feel like
short tracks that works,
some of the super
but
speedways can be that way as well. Where kind of
exactly.
everybody kind of finds a groove. They're just running that groove for a long time, and then the guy who makes the right adjustments or has the best pit stop on the money stop, ends up, being the guy taking the lead.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like short tracks that pays dividends at, like, you can run away with the whole race. But, like, anything mile and a half or bigger, like, you're almost in danger running up there. So, Harvick's got some key points. I mean, he's done it. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's experienced it. He's been one of those guys that went out there and led 300 laps of 350 or
Oh yeah.
400. came up short.
Yep. That's it. I think he even said, he's like, I've done that a bunch. He's like, it sucks. He's like, sometimes you just can't help it. But anything in this top 10 really stand out to you? What?
Chase Briscoe with the number 3, even though he's on the pole, that's killer for points for him.
Yeah.
He had a bad pit stop or something. He sped in the pits and had to go to the back, so he fought his way back up to 3. That's a win for the 19 team.
Brad Kozlowski sticks out to me. Nice to see him top 5 finally. Get a good finish.
Yeah,
able to finish a race, because I feel like he's had a few races where he's been competitive. He's fast, but hasn't been able to put it all together and get a top finish.
Definitely. Ding-a-ling with the top 5, AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, I know, that was kind of surprising.
Out of nowhere. Like, I argued with my wife about taking him for our little fantasy game. I was like, if it's a road course, bet AJ all day long. But this isn't a road course. And here he is showing me a top 5 finish. It's like, all right.
Yeah, but it's kind of an endurance race.
Very much so. So it's the longest race in NASCAR, so you got to have the wherewithal, right?
You do. Yep, Bell with another top 10, though. Priest, so you got 2 RFK cars up there. And I think overall, a pretty mild race. Up until the end there wasn't anything crazy. There's a few big wrecks, which is cool.
Right.
Not cool, but, entertaining. But the end, man, that was just awesome. Obviously, I'm super biased, and it's fun to watch your guy run down the guy in the lead. But to also see Denny in there at the end for no reason whatsoever, no idea what the hell Denny's doing when you're a lap down, basically. He's trying not to go a lap down, I guess. But what does it matter at that point, really? I mean, and I think that was a lot of the reason why Chastain was able to get that move right there. I think either way, you probably had Byron in the last 5 laps, but Denny being up there got side by side with Byron. Chastain's coming in with a full head of steam, able to kind of weasel in between both of them. But
yeah, took them both.
But yeah, I love watching that. I love the cat mouse at the end when you got a guy coming up from the back who's faster.
Right, definitely.
Unless it's your guy in number 1.
Right. That's the one downfall there for those who are William Byron fans. But at the same time, though, yeah, you don't that is pinpoint racing. Chastain had the long run car that you could see it playing out. I mean, he was coming from like 15 laps to go or whenever that last restart was.
Yep.
It was almost poetic to see him weave through some traffic, get up in the front by lap 9 or 6 or whatever it was. And then once he got to the clean air, it was like, you guys are boned. You aren't going to touch him from here on out. He's going to run away from you because he was running by you in traffic. You ain't going to touch him in clean air.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's, sometimes the guys who get through the whole pack like that, they're able to actually take it off. Sometimes they get caught up in a wreck, What happened
I feel like Chastain had a Blaney-esque run. He was able to capitalize on a great car where, like, these are one of those races, like, throughout the year that we've seen where Blaney's the best car in the field in wrecks. Chastain didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah,
he made it through unscathed. It's hard to do when you're being aggressive too,
especially coming from the back.
Yeah. Speaking of Blaney, though, what about Penske in general? Talk about a bad outing for them.
Not a good week. I'm sure they're looking forward to Nashville, but not a good week for Penske program.
Yeah,
first off, you start off with firing a whole bunch of your Indy 500 guys, and then your NASCAR guys come and run like dog shit.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if there's any relation there, right? Because I heard that about the Indy guys. It's like, I don't know. You would think that all of that would have been unrelated.
I'm sure it's separated to a point, but they're still sending a shiver down your program, right?
Right, and that's the thing. You hear of another department in your corporation laying off a bunch of people or something, you're gonna be a little worried about it. Not that that's what happened, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, just another wing of your team. There's some chaos or some bad stuff going on. You're gonna be aware of that.
Agreed. You don't fire an assistant coach and wonder who's going to replace him.
Right.
You know.
So yeah,
It,
we'll see how Penske bounces back. I would assume the usual suspects, either Blaney or Logano, is going to run well at NASCAR or at Nashville.
yeah.
At NASCAR, they're going to run well at NASCAR.
Yeah, they do that. Logano's our defending champion at Nashville, so
What does he win last year?
yes, he did on a fuel mileage race. Everyone thought Joey was going to run out last year.
Oh yes,
He had
I
no
remember this
business
race.
winning the race.
Yep.
He should have been out 3 laps early, and he somehow squeaked through and held on to win the race. So
yeah,
kudos to him. But
I think he's done that multiple times. Not at Nashville, but I feel like he's pushed that envelope several times.
I put a lot of that to his crew chief Paul Wolf, who was Bad Brad's Keselowski's crew chief for a long time, and Bad Brad did that a handful of times.
Yeah,
they pulled the fuel mileage race and managed to squeak out wins because they were ballsy enough to say we're either going to run out or we're going to win.
Right.
So
well, and it's nice when you can make that call from a position of we already have a win, we're already in. Let's try and get another one, right?
Definitely.
Like if you're in that position, I'm making that call way more often than it's like, we need these points, guys. Let's go in and get fuel, you know?
Right. But at the same time, when you're that late, it's like, okay, we're either finishing 30th or we're finishing first.
You know? Right. Oh yeah, there's a point where it doesn't really matter because the downside isn't there either way, so you go for it. But...
I mean, they're loading balls up in a wheelbarrow and saying we're all in on this one. Like Paul Wolf is a genius on fuel mileage. Anything. I think he's one of, if not the best crew chiefs in NASCAR, which pains me because our number one fan, that's his driver, is Joey Logano, and I don't like to give him kudos because I don't want to bloat his head because he's also in our fantasy pot we talked about. But Paul Wolf's the man. I will straight up say that. I think Paul Wolf's one of the best crew chiefs in NASCAR.
Yeah, hard to argue against that, man. And 3-time champion, so.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right. You did a little bit of research on Nashville, or you just already knew some stuff that you wanted to
talk about? Not a ton, but a little bit. So Nashville, so we're at the super speedway, not the fairgrounds. We were at the fairgrounds a couple of years ago, but Nashville super speedway has only been around since like 2001. I think I'm right on that. It was another one kind of like Texas where it popped off due to the boom in the 90s and the 80s of NASCAR, right?
Right.
So just like we talked about Texas, you know, that NASCAR was at its peak. We're going to build a track. But it's also a small track in retrospect, especially for being a super speedway. It's a lot like Darlington in size. It's only a 1.33 mile track.
Oh, okay.
Roughly. But it's a super speedway, like Darlington. So it's a small super speedway.
Right.
It's got a small venue. It's a small venue in capacity wise. Like we just went from a 95,000 people stadium to a 25 to up to 30,000 people can go watch this race because that's what they have room for.
Gotcha.
You know, so this one, it has banking. What was it? I think turn 4 or the turns are a 14 degree banking. The front stretch is a 9-degree banking, and the back stretch is a 6-degree banking. So we're banked the whole way around it, which kind of makes it classified as a speedway. There's no flat ground. It's in Lebanon, Tennessee. There's only a handful of guys that have won races here that are still racing, and the great part about it, kind of like we spoke about Texas, is it's rewriting its own history, right? It's not one of those ones that we look back on and it's like, yeah, Petty's got 10 wins here.
Right.
Johnson's got 6.
Waltrip.
Uh, Waltrip, Earnhardt, it's
Yeah.
not one of those. So history is still being written here, which is great. They did take a break from this track for a good period of time.
Huh.
They started racing here again in 2021. So we've had 4 races in the last 4 years. This is our 5th race here. Excuse me. It has the potential to be a really good racetrack, but it also has the potential to be kind of a boring race. I will say that because they do tend to single file out here, and the
Yeah.
worry of being wrecked is kind of what I've noticed. I will say, shout out to Happy Harvick. You, sir, have the track record here. We don't got to say Kyle Larson for 2 weeks in a row. And I think it was 2022, Kevin Harvick and his Ford GT Mustang at the 2022 LA 400 secured the lap record with 29.856 seconds on a lap.
Screaming.
So, screaming. So we're basically a mile and a half, and a small mile and a half, but
yeah,
we're too big to be considered a short track. But we're a big bull here, so I think we have the potential for some good racing. And who doesn't want to go visit Nashville?
Yeah.
Why not pick now?
I would like to go to Nashville, honestly.
Definitely.
Not just aside from the NASCAR part of it, I'd definitely love to go see a NASCAR race, but also
that's in discussion for the Talladega trip, is driving back and going through Nashville on the way back to Martinsville.
There you go. Might as well.
Right? Just to want to see it. Want to see it. I want to pull a Morgan Wallen and throw a chair off a roof.
As West Coast people, I look at the map over there and I'm like, it's 2 hours. Exactly. 2 hours in a car. That's nothing. That's that's from me to you. Like we drive that all the time.
Right. It's driving across our state and you're in 3 different states over there. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You drive over east and that's like, hopping 2 borders for them probably.
Yeah.
A little different in the Wild West.
That's right.
Wide open, but all right. Well, let's get into some odds then.
Yeah, let's get it.
Have you poked around?
I've looked a little bit. A little bit. I got a couple I like. I've got a couple that are long shots, but I've got a parlay I really like.
Okay. Why don't you throw the parlay at me? I want to hear this.
So per usual, the 5 car, Kyle Larson, is our betting favorite pre-qualifying, which he'll probably still be betting favorite after qualifying. He's got a plus 450 win and a plus 135 for top 3.
Yep.
Right? So your boy Chastain has a plus 900 win and a plus 260 top 3.
Okay.
I don't know what the parlay numbers are, but I like them both for a top 3 finish this week.
Both for a top 3 would parlay into 746, plus 746, so plus 750 basically.
Ballsy, because you're betting on 2 drivers finishing top 3, which is hard enough to bet on one to finish top 3. But I feel they both are going to come. Kyle Larson's too good of a driver to have a rough race 2 weeks in a row. Chastain's coming off the mojo and runs great at Nashville. I feel like that is.
I like it.
I can't say it's a lock.
No,
but I love it.
I love it as well. Here's my problem with this and why I would never have it for a lock. That just screams to me. That bet screams this town ain't big enough for the both of us, and I don't actually see both of them making a top 3 because they're probably going to wreck each other getting there.
Very, very, very possible. Very possible.
That's my only problem with that, but it could happen. It could definitely happen. I like it. I got a couple for you. You might like this. All right. Official lock of the week. You're going to like this one. My official lock of the week is Mr. Chase Elliott for a top 3 finish.
Love it.
Average finish here of 7.7 over the last 3 races. So the last 3 years. I think that was 3 years ago he had a win, and then he's had 2 top fives. Total.
Plus 425.
Yes. Plus 425. You can't go wrong.
Not a bad bet.
So the other thing I was looking at was either a straight up William Byron at plus 700 for more of a mid range, or a plus 900 for Ross Chastain as the mid. Those are my 2 mid range guys. Like, I'll probably have money on both of them. I think Byron's going to be a little pissed from last week. I think he looked good. They make a couple different adjustments. He gets the win last week, right? I could see that. I could see that anger fueling him a little bit this week. And then same thing can be said with Chastain. I think they found some mojo there. I think they found something in Charlotte. And I think that's going to carry over to a track that he is already really good at.
Yeah, very, very possible. I could see both of those happening.
The other one that I might want to take advantage of before. Okay, so if you're looking to take advantage of some odds before qualifying, Joey Logano at plus 1,800 is really nice. I think that goes down after qualifying. I think he's probably going to be more of like a plus 11, plus 1,200.
Agreed.
Get $10 on that guy.
That's if you don't qualify in the top 5.
Right. Yeah, that's just a standard good qualifying for him, right? Plus 500 for a top 3 finish is great for Logano right now too.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Long shots. I like Hocevar. He's plus 2,500. He's just dude. If the guy's engine didn't blow up last week, who knows what we'd be saying? You know, could have been a top 5 easy. He was contending for a lot of that race. And I think at some point, Daniel Suarez is going to win a race, and I'm just going to start throwing a little bit of money on him when his odds are plus 10,000. That's all I'm going to say.
Perfect.
When it's plus 10,000, throw $1 on there. If you win $100, sweet. You know.
It's funny. You sit here and go through your chat, and I'm looking through the odds, and I'm like, Jesus, Joey's plus 1,800.
Yeah. Yeah, for a guy who's won here in the last 3 years, his average finish is 9.7 in the last 3 years.
It's crazy. I would bet that every day and twice on Sunday.
Yep.
And I'll follow up by saying I was also looking at, before you said it, was Carson Hocevar at plus 2,500.
Hell yeah, lockstep this week.
We've talked about him multiple times in the last handful of weeks. Like, that kid is gonna pull off a win.
Yes.
Sooner or later when he puts it together.
Yep.
I will say another one, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Another track that Kyle Busch has won at, if he's gonna come back. See if he can smash another guitar. He's got 2 of them, or had 2 of them at least. He smashed one a handful of years ago, which was real dumb, but
hey,
he had it.
There's lots of people who have the guitar trophy, but nobody had a guitar trophy that was smashed.
well, his thought was everyone was getting a piece of it. So,
okay,
I see where he's coming from, but it's still kind of rough, right? Like,
right on stage immediately like that. With it. Yeah, okay, Rockstar.
Right, got a $25,000 guitar that was made for a trophy, and we're gonna act like we're the lead guitarist to Led Zeppelin or AC/DC or something, and not even them, more so than hard rock, and just smash the hell out of it. But
hey, to each his
own. I'd throw $1 on Kyle Busch this week.
Where's he at? Plus 2,800?
Plus 2,800.
Yeah, that's pretty high. With Kyle Busch, for me, it's always just can the rest of his crew and team put it together.
Right, which is tough.
Not that he's perfect or anything, but I feel like more often than not, he's
it's mechanical failure more often than not.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get into some standings? See how
Yeah.
things have changed. Byron's still at the top of the board up there. Not a lot of changes, honestly.
Not a lot.
Obviously, Ross moving up to 8. Elliott's still just hanging on up there without a win.
It's good finishes, man.
Same with
Week.
Blaney. It actually surprises me that Blaney's that high up.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a surprise for Blaney just because of the fact he's had so many rough outings, even though he's ran great.
Yeah.
He
had a lot of
hasn't
DNFs.
finished great. But he's also passed twice as many people as other people.
Yeah. That's true.
He's put in the work to get there. So it is good to see him up there.
It is. You do still have all 3 of the Penske cars in the top 15, which is good. Stenhouse moving up. I mean, just creeping. Now he's up to 13 now.
Oh, Rick and Ricky. TP creeping. Atta boy.
Yeah.
I mean, can't be mad at it. I mean, Ricky's
out there. Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I feel like the Penske guys are strong, but we're gonna start seeing those spots down at like the 10 through 15. Those are gonna get challenged pretty hard here by some other up and comers.
Definitely. I mean, what are we
teams.
looking at now? We've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. We have to be at like eight wins, 8 different driver wins by now, right?
Yeah.
We've got William Byron, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Josh Berry, Joey Logano. I feel like there's Austin Cindric. That's 8.
Yeah.
So I could be missing somebody. So we're climbing up there in total wins. Back to our you shouldn't win to get in segment from last week, but
yeah, no, it's 8. You got them all. The guys I'm more thinking of are your Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, who are just out of the top 15. Carson Hocevar, I'd have trouble believing he ain't making it to the top 15 here in the next month.
Right.
Or 2.
And he's one of those guys that even if he continues to wreck out, he could very well steal it with a win.
Right.
And then when he gets in, he's trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same with like Bad Brad, Kozlowski. He's way down the list. 31st, I think, 30th, 31st, 32nd in points. But, clearly capable of getting a win. You got SVG could take a road course. Allmendinger could take a road course. Kyle Busch could always sneak in there. So I feel like we got a lot of movement that could happen.
Definitely. Some breaking news. Shout out to the number 71 Riggs in the Truck Series for holding off Himes for the win.
Oh, he did? Ooh.
Yeah.
Spoiler
Second
alert.
career win today. Spoiler alert.
Damn. Yeah, Heim was looking good today in qualifying too.
Yeah, he was. But that's the way the cookie crumbles in NASCAR.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. You can talk to William Byron about that.
Yeah, definitely. You want to take a minute to touch on the crown jewel subject?
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, how many crown jewel races does Chase Elliott have under his belt?
I'm gonna smash your watermelon next time at your house on your kitchen floor. He's got 0. So out of the crown jewel races that we've discussed, there's the 4 main crown jewels of NASCAR, right? We've got the Daytona 500. We've got the Lady in Black, which is the Southern 500 at Darlington.
Yep.
We've got the Coke 600. And then we have the Brickyard at the Indianapolis track. Denny Hamlin is the leader of current drivers. He's got 7 wins at crown jewel tracks.
Jesus.
Closest guy to him is Kyle Busch with 4. Then we've got Kyle Larson and Bad Brad with 3. We've got William Byron, and get this, Eric Jones and Austin Dillon with 2. And then we have a laundry list of guys with 1.
Yeah.
none of who worked or which named Chase Elliott, as you've so kindly pointed out.
Hey, Chase Briscoe has one though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he
Caught
does.
me off guard.
Don't want to talk about that.
I heard Ross Chastain got one.
Yeah, just happens to have a new shiny gold ring.
Ooh.
But I feel like it is something to point out. Like these are the most prestigious races in NASCAR. They're the who's who of racetracks. The ones that are the most sought after. They're the ones that like these guys look at every year and have dialed in on their calendar. Like, yeah, we're racing here.
Yeah, everybody wants that on their under their belt, right? Like,
right. It's more than just a trophy you get. I mean, NASCAR gives like ceremonial championship rings for winning these 4 races. Like Chastain got like a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, I know that thing was giant.
I mean, it's crazy, but it is definitely. If you want to be remembered as a NASCAR racer, you need to win some crown jewel races.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's something that stands out. I mean, like I said, the fact that Denny's won 7 of them is crazy.
Yeah, nobody's even close.
No.
Behind that. Those are of current drivers, right? Just current drivers.
Yes, those are current drivers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson could have 15 for all
I was
going
to say, it would be interesting to know what the whole list is. I'm sure, Earnhardt's probably got 30 of them.
Right. Exactly.
Even Junior's probably got quite a few.
Definitely.
But, yeah. Well, you got anything else you want to wrap up on?
I don't think so. I mean, we kind of touched on all of it.
It is a later race this week.
It is. I was really disappointed. I found that out today that it starts our time at 4 p.m.
Yeah, so that's
and I was really saddened by that.
7 p.m. on the East Coast. Yeesh.
That's but I get it because it's hotter than balls in Nashville this time of year, so they're trying not to cook their fans. Yeah. I mean, even the truck race started at 5 o'clock here, which is 8 o'clock over there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was kind of disappointed by the late start, but I get it. Being the West Coasters we are, we got to kind of deal with it.
Yeah. Oh well.
Right.
I wish it was on a Saturday sometimes though.
I know we don't get. That's something we need to discuss more. Is the fact that we don't get enough Saturday races.
Yeah.
Oh, and before we jump off here, I got our one weekly complaint for Grind Our Gears. NASCAR, yes. Give us 5 lug nuts back.
That's it.
1 lug nut sucks.
That's all we want. Is 5 nuts.
That's all we want. 5 nuts.
5 nuts from a couple 16. Nuts, all right?
But that's all I had. I mean, I think we're in for a decent race. Hopefully it's not a boring one. I apologize to anyone who might be listening because my dog's complaining in the background.
Couldn't hear it.
Good. He's driving me nuts. Well. But I think we're in for hopefully a good show. I hope it's not a fuel mileage race like it was last year. Hopefully we get some good solid door banging and some records or checkers, baby.
Records or checkers. I think you're going to see Larson, Hamlin, and Chastain out there just driving for it.
I hope so.
We'll see. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Have fun. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Keep the rubbers up.